You know, it's wild to think about, but right now, 44% of the chief marketing officers running the biggest brands in the world are, well, they're completely flying blind.
Yeah, they really are.
They're spending millions of dollars on social media, running these massive campaigns, and they have absolutely no idea if any of it is actually working.
It's a huge problem. And when you look at that 44% statistic, I mean, it really frames the entire modern marketing landscape.
Right.
If the people at the top, the ones with massive budgets and dedicated analytics teams, if they're struggling to measure their impact, you can imagine how overwhelming it is for everyone else.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up. So today, we're opening up the ultimate 2025 playbook to show you exactly how the other 56% are actually proving their worth, cutting through the noise, and, stopping that endless scroll.
Exactly, because the volume of data, the constantly shifting algorithms, and just the conflicting advice out there, it creates a massive roadblock.
Which is exactly why we've assembled this massive stack of blueprints for this deep dive. We really want to decode the mechanisms behind the brands that are actually succeeding right now.
Yeah, we're synthesizing a lot of ground today.
We are. We've got HubSpot's latest short-form video strategies, comprehensive guides on paid versus organic from AdParlor, and some really technical enterprise case studies on omnichannel marketing from Insider One.
And we're also integrating insights from this phenomenal handbook on social media, ROI, from Falcon.io, along with the core principles of growth hacking and research on the rise of community-led growth from Knowledge Hub Media.
It's a total synthesis of the modern customer journey.
It is, yeah, a complete unified playbook.
But, to build a marketing empire that actually scales, you can't start by painting the roof, right? You have to check the plumbing first.
Right, you have to look at how you measure success before you even talk about how to achieve it.
Exactly. Because creating content without auditing your data first, it's like driving a car by only looking out the side windows.
That's a great way to put it.
You feel like you're moving incredibly fast. You see all the scenery just blurring by, but you have no idea if you're actually heading toward your destination until you crash.
Yeah, you're just entirely focused on the speed, not the direction.
So how do the 56% of CMOs who aren't flying blind actually turn on the headlights?
Well, they start by executing a ruthless, mechanical social media audit.
Okay. What does that look like in practice?
It's definitely not a vanity check. It's not about looking at likes and follower counts.
Right, the stuff that makes us feel good but doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. It's a forensic look at what actually drives business value. There's this great example in the Falcon.io guide from Luke Kinty at Intel.
Oh, yeah, his take on the 80-20 rule.
Right. He pushes the classic 80-20 rule to an extreme. By digging into their internal data, he found that in many cases, just 10% of their content was driving 90% of their meaningful traffic.
Wait, just 10%? That is doing an insane amount of heavy lifting.
It is. And it means if you aren't digging into your data, you are likely spending an enormous amount of time and money cooking up content that absolutely nobody cares about.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because creating content without auditing is basically like throwing spaghetti at the wall in a dark room and never actually turning on the lights to see what stuck. We just keep cooking more spaghetti.
That's exactly what's happening. We just keep making more.
Isn't it terrifying that companies are spending thousands without knowing the value of, say, an email sign-up?
It's terrifying, but it's common. And I think the resistance to auditing usually comes down to fear and complexity.
Fear of what? Finding out it's not working.
Exactly. Marketers often hide behind vague terms like brand awareness, because assigning a real concrete number to an action means you can actually fail.
Ah, right. If the goal is just awareness, you can always say you achieved it.
Exactly. The way you strip away that ambiguity is by calculating return on investment, using what we call micro-conversions.
Micro-conversions.
Right. Instead of only tracking the final sale, a micro-conversion assigns a specific dollar value to a leading indicator in your funnel, like an email sign-up, a white paper download, or a webinar registration.
Okay, let's walk through the actual math on that because the Falcon.io handbook breaks this down in a way that completely changes how you view a budget.
It really does.
So say you spend $1,000 on Instagram ads to promote an upcoming webinar.
Okay.
And at the end of the campaign, you have 90 people registered. Now, if you stop the math there, you're just down $1,000 with some names on a list.
But because you've turned the headlights on and analyzed your historical sales data, you actually know the underlying mechanics of your funnel.
Right.
You know that historically, let's say 10% of the people who attend your webinars eventually make a $200 purchase.
Okay, so let me do the math. You take 10% of those 90 registrants, which gives you 9 eventual buyers.
Yep, 9 buyers.
And you multiply those 9 buyers by the $200 purchase price, and you get $1,800 in total generated value. So you spent $1,000 and you generated $1,800. That's an 80% ROI.
And the beauty of that is you now have mathematical proof that every single webinar registration is worth exactly $20 to your business.
Wow. $20 a head.
Right. It forces absolute accountability.
Mm-hmm.
If your ad costs you $40 to acquire one of those registrants, you immediately know the campaign is a loser and you kill it.
Because you're spending $40 to make $20.
Exactly. But if it costs you $10, you pour as much money into that ad as you possibly can. When you know the exact value of an action, you stop guessing with your budget and you start investing with confidence.
That makes so much sense, but it begs an operational question, I think.
Okay, what's that?
Well, we know what our actions are worth now, but how do we actually get the initial clicks? Do we pay for that reach with ads, or do we try to grind it out organically? It always feels like those two camps are in this endless turf war over the budget.
They usually are, yeah. But the ad parlor philosophy really dismantles that war entirely. They argue that viewing paid and organic as opposing forces is just a fundamental misunderstanding of the ecosystem. They're not enemies, they're a power couple.
A power couple.
Yeah. They form a single integrated testing loop. Organic social media is how you build community, authenticity, and trust. But its real mechanical superpower is acting as a free A/B testing ground.
Oh, interesting. And the paid side?
Paid media buys you reach, speed, and incredibly precise targeting data.
So instead of treating them as totally separate strategies, you use your organic audience as a focus group.
Exactly. You put out 5 organic posts, 4 of them get mediocre engagement, but 1 gets abnormal massive traction.
Right, the winner.
That 1 post is your validated winner, and that is the only one you put your paid budget behind to amplify.
Okay, that is brilliant. You let the organic market validate the message, and then you use paid media to scale it up.
Exactly. And when we look at the data on what type of content consistently wins in those organic tests, the breakdown is actually pretty surprising.
Yeah, the success equation they lay out is fascinating. Consistency is actually the most important factor, right? It drives 20% of your success.
Right, outranking even content quality, which sits at 15%.
Wait, consistency beats perfection? That has to be a huge relief for anyone listening right now.
It really is. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present.
It's exactly like fitness. I mean, if you hit the gym for 10 hours once a month, you get nowhere. You're just sore.
Yeah, you just hurt yourself.
Right. But showing up for 45 minutes 3 times a week, that gets results.
It's about predictable frequency, not these sporadic bursts of extreme effort.
That makes total sense. So what kind of content should we be consistently showing up with?
Well, the underlying algorithms are designed to maximize time on platform, right? So they naturally reward creators who keep users coming back predictably.
And right now, that's short-form video.
Absolutely. The HubSpot data shows a massive shift in consumer behavior. Get this, TikTok users are spending an average of 95 minutes a day scrolling.
95 minutes. That is a massive chunk of human attention.
It's wild. YouTube Shorts is processing 70 billion views every single day.
70 billion. But capturing that attention is brutal. I know HubSpot outlines a really specific 60-second video framework to handle this.
They do, yeah.
It's 0 to 3 seconds for the hook, 4 to 15 seconds for the setup, 16 to 45 seconds to deliver value, and then the final 46 to 60 seconds for a call to action.
That's the blueprint.
I really want to drill down into that 3-second hook, though, because if you blow that, the other 57 seconds literally do not exist to the viewer. They've already swiped.
Oh, 100%. The hook is the barrier to entry. You have to consider the psychological state of a user scrolling through a feed.
They're zoned out.
Exactly. They're essentially in a dopamine trance. To capture their attention, you have to create a visual or auditory pattern interrupt that physically breaks that trance.
Like waking them up.
Right. The sources actually reference the classic Coca-Cola Share a Coke campaign as a parallel here.
Oh, where they put the names on the bottles?
Yeah. They didn't launch with a slow corporate monologue about their new personalization strategy. They simply printed your actual name on the bottle.
Which is an immediate visual disruption. You see your name, you have to stop and process it.
Exactly. Your video hook has to function the exact same way. You ask an unexpected question, create sudden urgency, or use a jarring visual.
You have to manufacture that disruption. But here's the friction I see. If you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I have my 3-second hook, I have my 60-second video framework.
Right.
If you just export that one video and blast the exact same file to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, I mean, it usually fails miserably, right?
Oh, entirely.
Yeah.
You have to adapt the content to the specific platform vibe.
The platform vibe.
Yeah, every app functions like a different room at a massive party.
Sure.
And the context of the room dictates what the users expect.
Okay, so what's the vibe for YouTube Shorts?
YouTube Shorts is heavily driven by search engine optimization. Users are often there to solve a problem, so educational value and clear titles matter most.
So not just marketing tips.
Right. Instead of a vague title, they want how I got 10K followers in 30 days.
Okay, and what about TikTok?
TikTok is the raw, chaotic room at the party. It actively punishes overproduction.
Really?
Yeah. If a video looks polished like a traditional television ad, users perceive it as an intrusion into a peer-to-peer space, and they just swipe past instantly.
Wow.
It demands fast-paced trends and unpolished authenticity,
Okay, so then you transition to Instagram Reels.
which is the highly curated space. Reels demands aesthetics.
Right, it's gotta look good.
Exactly. It rewards high-quality visuals, polished transitions, and behind-the-scenes processes that look aspirational.
And finally, LinkedIn, which a lot of people just ignore for video.
They do, but LinkedIn short-form functions essentially as a mini TED Talk. Users are in a professional mindset, looking for actionable career insights or business lessons delivered efficiently.
Okay, but let's look at the operational reality of that. If I'm a marketer or a solo creator, I barely have time to make one decent video a week.
I know, it sounds like a lot.
Expecting someone to produce a raw TikTok, a polished reel, an SEO-optimized YouTube short, and a mini TED Talk from scratch, that's a recipe for instant burnout.
It is, which is why the solution to that operational bottleneck is the remix strategy.
The remix strategy, tell me about that.
Smart creators don't create a higher volume of original ideas. They create better extraction systems.
Okay.
You start with one high-value, core piece of content, the main dish. It might be a 20-minute podcast interview or a long-form YouTube essay.
Right.
Then you extract the heaviest-hitting 30-second quote and reformat it for LinkedIn.
Got it.
You take a visually interesting B-roll moment and pair it with trending audio for Reels. You pull the most controversial take and use it as a fast-paced hook for TikTok.
So a single core asset becomes 10 highly optimized pieces of platform-specific content.
Exactly. That's how you scale without burning out.
Okay, so the remix strategy keeps the content engine fed. But let's look at what happens after those videos actually do their job and generate a click.
Right. The journey continues.
Exactly. Say a customer watches your remixed TikTok on their phone on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, they browse your website on their work laptop. On Saturday, they walk into your physical retail store.
A very normal customer journey nowadays.
But if those 3 touch points don't talk to each other, all that great content is completely wasted. How are top-tier brands actually bridging that gap?
They're taking the core mechanics of growth hacking and applying them to the entire customer journey.
Growth hacking, that's a very Silicon Valley term.
It is, yeah. Think Dropbox and Airbnb. The core premise is prioritizing rapid, relentless A/B testing and data-driven decisions over long, rigid development cycles.
Okay.
When you apply that obsessive data tracking to a user bouncing between different platforms, you build an omni-channel experience.
Omnichannel.
Right. But to physically execute that, you need the underlying architecture, which is a customer data platform or CDP.
Let's break down the actual mechanics of a CDP, because omnichannel is one of those buzzwords that gets thrown into literally every marketing presentation, but the implementation is highly technical.
It's very technical behind the scenes.
To me, true omnichannel means the brand has a photographic memory of the customer.
That's a perfect analogy.
Instead of treating the user like a total stranger every time they interact with a different facet of the business, the CDP acts as a centralized brain that logs every interaction in real time.
And that centralized brain is what makes these massive returns possible. The Insider One case studies highlight this sports brand, Flazzinger.
Okay, what did they do?
They wanted to tackle the massive problem of cart abandonment. Now, without a CDP, a brand typically sends a generic, "you left something in your cart" email to their entire list.
All right, we've all gotten those.
Exactly. But Flazzinger used omnichannel orchestration to target users with contextual messaging across their specific preferred channels.
Meaning the CDP algorithm recognizes that, say, customer A always opens promotional emails, but customer B ignores emails entirely and only engages with web push notifications on their desktop.
Exactly. The system automatically routes the reminder to the specific channel where it has the highest mathematical probability of being seen.
That's brilliant.
And they paired that routing capability with rapid messaging tests.
Yeah.
The result was a 49x ROI in just 8 weeks.
49x. That's incredible.
Yeah, by ensuring the message met the customer exactly where they were already paying attention.
Wow. Now, recovering a digital cart makes sense mechanically because the customer's behavior is already occurring inside a web browser.
Sure.
But the Matahari case study, that's the one that really challenges assumptions for me because bridging the physical and digital divide sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare.
It's the holy grail of retail.
Right. How does an email algorithm know what I looked at while walking around a physical shopping mall?
Well, the CDP serves as the bridge between those environments. Matahari is a major retail brand with a massive physical footprint.
Okay.
They integrated their physical point-of-sale data, specifically the loyalty card scans at the physical cash registers, directly into their digital CDP.
Wait, physical stores. So if I go into a brick and mortar store and buy a specific brand of running shoes using my loyalty account, that transaction isn't just trapped in an isolated store ledger somewhere.
No, it's instantly transmitted to the central digital brain.
That's insane.
The CDP logs that physical purchase immediately. So the next morning, your mobile app push notification isn't a generic weekend sale blast sent to a million people.
Right.
It's a highly specific alert for, say, running socks or apparel from the exact brand you purchased 12 hours earlier.
And what were the results of that?
By unifying that physical and digital data, Matahari saw their email open rates jump by 328%.
328%.
And those personalized app push notifications generated a staggering 356x boost in revenue.
A 356x boost simply by ensuring the digital messaging reflects verified real-world behavior. That is wild.
It's extremely powerful. And we see a similar mechanical brilliance with the jewelry brand Chao Sang.
Oh, right. They achieved a 23.5% uplift in conversion rates using what the sources call crowdsourced email recommendations. How does that actually work under the hood?
It relies on dynamic content injection based on real-time browsing behavior across their entire user base.
Okay, so instead of a marketing manager manually guessing which products to feature in a weekly newsletter.
Exactly. The CDP tracks what items are currently trending or frequently being bought together on the website in real time.
So the email essentially builds itself dynamically.
Yes. If you open the newsletter on a Tuesday afternoon, it automatically populates with the specific earrings that hundreds of other users on the website are looking at right now.
It leverages the collective behavior of the crowd to curate the individual's experience. That's so smart.
It really is. The overarching theme across Slazenger, Matahari, and Chao Sang is that a unified data architecture allows you to stop interrupting customers with irrelevant noise. You start serving them exactly what their own behavior indicates they want.
Okay, so we have the ultimate marketing machine mapped out here.
We do.
We've audited our micro-conversions, we've mastered the platform vibes with a remixed content engine, and we've deployed a CDP to create a photographic memory of the customer journey. We are highly optimized.
Very optimized.
But there is a glaring vulnerability in this playbook, isn't there?
Oh, definitely.
Paid ad costs are constantly rising. Social platforms change their algorithms overnight. What happens when the machine simply gets too expensive to run?
That is the existential threat every modern brand faces today. The efficiency of paid media decays over time due to ad fatigue and just generally rising customer acquisition costs.
Right.
The ultimate sustainable moat against that decay is the customers themselves.
Ah.
This represents the shift toward community-led growth, or CLG.
Because according to the Edelman Trust Barometer data in our sources, 92% of consumers now trust peer recommendations over brand marketing.
92%. It's massive.
Meaning, if your brand publishes a beautifully polished video saying your product is great, consumers immediately throw their guard up. But if a random user in a Reddit forum or a Discord server says the product solved their problem, the consumer just pulls out their credit card. People trust people, not logos.
Exactly.
So how do you actually operationalize that? How do you engineer a community?
It requires an entirely different posture. Traditional marketing is broadcasting at an audience.
Right.
Community-led growth is building infrastructure for collaboration with them. You have to turn passive consumers into active champions who provide feedback, solve each other's technical problems, and advocate for your product organically.
Figma is a brilliant example of this from the research.
Oh, absolutely.
They build design software, but they didn't just sell licenses. They built a massive open community ecosystem where users can share their own design templates, create custom plugins, and educate each other.
Right, and the product becomes stickier and more valuable because the community itself is generating the value, not just the company.
Exactly. And Notion executed a really similar strategy, didn't they?
They did. They identified their most passionate power users and gave them the tools and the status to become global ambassadors.
So these users are running independent YouTube tutorials, hosting local meetups, building complex templates.
Exactly. Notion didn't have to hire a massive global marketing team to reach those demographics because they empowered their community to do the marketing for them.
That's incredible. And Sephora's Beauty Insider community proves this model isn't just restricted to tech companies.
Not at all. Sephora created a dedicated digital space where customers can ask each other highly specific questions about skin types or makeup routines.
So the users co-create the content and answer the questions.
Yes, it drives massive repeat engagement entirely organically because the community members feel a genuine sense of ownership over the space.
That sense of ownership is everything. It's the core mechanism of CLG.
It is. When people feel like they are contributing to a shared mission, the network effect takes over. They naturally invite their peers. The community itself becomes your primary growth engine. And it's deeply resilient to algorithm changes because it's built on actual human connection, not just a rented audience from a social media platform.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? It means shifting your mindset completely.
Yeah, it really does.
It's like retiring from being a broadcaster, standing on a soapbox, yelling into a megaphone, and instead transitioning into the host of a really great dinner party.
Oh, I love that.
You provide the space, you set the table, you make the initial introductions, but the guests are the ones who actually create the magic and keep the conversation going long into the night.
And that dinner party framework scales perfectly. Whether you are a solo creator launching a private Discord server or a multinational enterprise rolling out a global ambassador program, the underlying principle is identical. You are facilitating connection rather than just demanding attention.
Okay, let's retrace how all these pieces fit together into a single playbook.
Let's do it.
We started by looking in the mirror and ruthlessly auditing our data, moving past vanity metrics to calculate the true mathematical dollar value of a microconversion.
Right, finding the $20 value of an email signup.
Exactly. Then we learned to use organic content as a testing ground to validate our messaging before ever amplifying it with paid media.
We broke down the mechanics of the content engine, relying on the predictability of consistency over the trap of perfection.
Because consistency drives 20% of success.
Exactly. We mastered the 3-second hook to break the scrolling trance, and we deployed the remix strategy to hit every platform vibe without burning out our creative teams.
Then we wired all of that output into a centralized brain. We looked at how a customer data platform tracks behavior from a physical cash register all the way to a mobile app push notification.
Right, creating a seamless, highly profitable omni-channel experience.
And we capped it all off with community-led growth, the ultimate defense mechanism that turns your audience into your most powerful and resilient marketing asset.
It's a complete shift in how you operate.
It is. It all comes down to creating genuine value, rigorously tracking the math of what works, and treating the people on the other side of the screen as human beings with specific needs rather than just data points on a dashboard.
Exactly.
That is how you step off the endless marketing treadmill and start building something that lasts.
Which leaves you with one final provocative question to consider as you look at your own strategy.
What is it?
If you were to completely turn off all your paid ads and stop posting promotional content tomorrow, would anyone on the internet actually miss your brand?
Wow.
Build the kind of community where the answer is yes.
That is a perfect place to leave it. Until next time, keep digging deeper.